What if I told you there's a secret code so powerful it could erase fear itself? Could a mind trained for death be stronger than any sword? It has been locked away for over 700 years. A psychological system developed by Japan's elite warrior class, the samurai, who viewed death not as an end, but as a tool. We think of samurai for their steel, their armor, their unyielding loyalty. But their most formidable weapon was invisible. A set of forbidden mind rules designed to systematically dismantle the most primal human instinct: fear. We're not talking about swords or battles. We're uncovering a chilling internal war waged within the minds of history's deadliest warriors. And this is the story of how they won. At the heart of their doctrine lies a shocking truth. The samurai did not fight fear on the battlefield. They conquered it in the quiet stillness of their own homes. For centuries, a technique was practiced, a mental ritual that conditioned the mind to accept death long before the call to arms was ever sounded. They understood that fear's power is rooted in the unknown future. To master fear, they had to eliminate the future itself. This was the foundation of their control, a psychological fortress built not of stone, but of radical acceptance. The first forbidden rule was a daily meditation on oblivion. Each morning as the sun rose, the warrior was to vividly imagine their own end. Not in a glorious, heroic fantasy, but in the most brutal and mundane ways imaginable. A spear through the gut, a fall from a horse, sickness, dishonor. By confronting the worst possible outcomes every single day, the mind became desensitized. The shock of mortality faded into a cold, hard fact. This constant mental rehearsal erased hesitation. When faced with a life or death choice, a mind that had already died 1,000 times could act instantly, without the paralysis of what if. It was a terrifying form of cognitive exposure therapy, practiced centuries before the concept ever had a name. From this foundation of acceptance, the second hidden law emerged: the absolute mastery of emotional expression. The samurai knew that emotion, particularly fear and anger, was a contagion. It could spread from a leader to his men, turning a disciplined unit into a panicked mob. The solution was a mask of utter stillness. Through rigorous breath control, long, slow, and deliberate, they could regulate their own nervous system, calming the physiological storm that fear unleashes. Their faces were trained to become unreadable canvases, betraying no hint of the turmoil within. This was not suppression, it was redirection. The energy of fear was not denied but channeled into a state of hyper-aware, deadly calm, making them unpredictable and terrifying opponents. The third and most dangerous rule was the most profound: total detachment from the outcome. The warrior was trained to release their mind from the concepts of victory or defeat, of life or death. Their purpose was not to survive the battle. Their purpose was to execute their function with perfect clarity. By severing the mind's attachment to results, they created a state of pure, unadulterated focus. There was only the present moment, the drawing of the sword, the angle of the cut, the movement of the enemy. This state, which modern psychology now calls flow, rendered them fearless. A warrior with nothing to gain and nothing to lose is an opponent who cannot be psychologically broken. They became instruments of action, unburdened by the hope of life or the fear of death. Today, these ancient principles are being rediscovered in the most unlikely of places. The same concepts of daily mental rehearsal and outcome detachment are echoed in the training of elite special forces, from the Navy SEALs to the SAS. Neuroscientists studying fear extinction are mapping the very brain pathways that the samurai learned to control through intuition and brutal discipline. The techniques for regulating the nervous system through breathwork are now a cornerstone of performance psychology, used by astronauts and world-class athletes. The forbidden knowledge of the few has become the cutting-edge science of the many. And now, we are left with a haunting question. The samurai mastered fear not just to fight, to serve, or to honor a code. They mastered it to reshape the human mind itself. The very instinct that keeps us alive, the pulse of survival, could be stripped away, step by step, rule by rule. What becomes of a person, or even a civilization, when fear no longer holds sway? We admire the samurai for their honor, their discipline, their steel, yet perhaps their most enduring legacy is a warning, a shadow from centuries past, whispering of the darkness that awakens when the mind learns to silence its own humanity.